siege. Ling Zhao only felt the world spinning around him. He didn't quite know when it happened or how, but suddenly he was no longer in Ancestor Chemo's embrace. Ancestor Chemo had assured Ling Zhao the hypocrites of the 7 Grand Holy Lands would definitely save him, so he need not be worried. And, as expected, everything went according to Ancestor Chemo's predictions. However, Ling Zhao wasn't aware that when his body was being pulled towards Li Juanyi, Ancestor Chemo made a slight movement with his hand. The dagger, coated with highly toxic poison, flew straight towards Ling Zhao's heart. "You vicious old monster!" The old man wearing blue garments couldn't stay still any longer. His eyes were about to burst apart in anger. With a small movement, an enormous indigo mark appeared behind Ling Zhao's back. The dagger that was about to deliver a fatal wound to Ling Zhao crashed into the indigo mark instead. "Take this," a red-haired old man said before undergoing rapid changes. In an instant, he transformed into a huge indigo dragon that was tens of meters long. He struck out towards Ancestor Chemo with his claw. Ancestor Chemo didn't dodge, a sneer forming on his face. He gently tapped the claw, then moved his finger up. A bluish-black smoke emerged, revealing themselves to be many roaring and snarling ghosts. King of Hell's finger. It was just a light touch, but everyone present was taken aback. The old man who had transformed to a dragon rapidly pulled back his claw. "Be careful, Zhao Yang," Enlightened Wu Jing exclaimed, after which a giant talisman flew out from his hand. Ancestor Chemo's finger was about to pierce the huge dragon's claw, but what he struck wasn't the claw, it was Enlightened Wu Jing's talisman. The indigo talisman dissipated into countless indigo specks of light upon contact. There was a sweet taste in Enlightened Wu Jing's throat as blood gushed out of his mouth. Ling Zhao noticed that his current eyesight was exceptionally good. He could clearly see every single detail of the blood splurting out of Enlightened Wu Jing's mouth from tens of meters away. I never would have thought that this old bastard was so powerful. Perhaps I really can reign supreme over these guys once I receive his full inheritance. Ancestor Chemo's attack, which he made so casually yet was so overbearing, was deeply imprinted within Ling Zhao's mind. A strange sense of self-confidence slowly took root from the bottom of his heart and sprouted. "Demon, you dare harm others in the face of death. Just watch how we're going to kill you," Matriarch exclaimed. She was a middle-aged woman clad in purple garments who behaved like she was menopausing. With a wave of her hand, her palm and the faintly discernible chain on her neck simultaneously shone with indigo rays of light. The indigo light rapidly turned into a giant with 2 indigo wings on its back. It was holding a greatsword in its hand as it hacked away in Ancestor Chemo's direction. Li Juanyi was carrying Ling Zhao in one arm as he threw a pentagram array in the air with the other. "Go!" The dazzling indigo array flew towards Ancestor Chemo. The others also released their techniques one after the other, simultaneously attacking Ancestor Chemo. In a flash, various attacks were fluttering in the sky. The one at the heart of all of these attacks laughed maniacally. "You want to kill me? The price will be steep." A chain emerged from Ancestor Chemo's chest, an instant before the attacks from the 7 powerhouses would strike him. 7 gems were strung together, emitting bluish-black rays of light. Suddenly, a dense layer of dark clouds covered the sky, blocking the sun's piercing light and turning Northern Jade City into a place of darkness. A single thought ran through the minds of the 7 when they saw this. "He's going to self-destruct with the soul chain. Run!" They turned tail and dashed away as fast as they could. A loud rumble rang out, and it seemed as though the sky itself had exploded, a pitch-black hole appearing in the darkness. The next moment, Ancestor Chemo's body disappeared. Countless black traces of gas turned into black raindrops, flinging towards its celestial soul masters from the 7 Grand Holy Lands stationed on the ground. "Wow! That demonic soul force is so powerful. Everyone, resist it with your soul chains." Beams of yellow, green, and blue shot out from the gems looped around the tens of thousands of celestial soul masters' chains, shooting into the sky above. In but a moment, the tricolored beams converged and formed a protective layer, blocking the black raindrops from hitting them. When the black raindrops fell on the tricolored protective light barrier, they dispersed like ink dripping in clear water. "Ah!" Hundreds of celestial soul masters screamed in agony as they fell to the ground, their faces ghastly dark. It seemed as though their lives were flashing before their eyes. At this moment, 7 bright rays of indigo light flew out over from different directions and fused with the tricolored protective light barrier. The 7 powerhouses sent over incomparably powerful indigo beams into the protective light barrier, forcing all the black raindrops out. Afterwards, the chains of the celestial soul masters lost their brilliance as their owners' faces turned deathly pale. Ling Zhao was a spectator towards all of this as if he had been cut off from the outside world. Is this real? Am I dreaming? Only a little while ago he was selling medicine in the floating red courtyard, yet now he was a spectator to a world-shaking battle between countless celestial soul masters and a single demonic soul master. There were times when life was truly unpredictable, but Ancestor Chemo's valiance left a lasting imprint in Ling Zhao's mind that wouldn't be eradicated for years to come. This was because he was injured, yet faced his enemies with a straight back. Even if he were to perish on his own, he'd be dragging hundreds of celestial soul masters along with him to the grave. If he could cultivate to such a level, and as long as he wasn't caught up in a hunt like this, who in the world could stand in his way? All of a sudden, Ling Zhao felt that it wasn't a pipe dream for him to complete the 2 tasks Ancestor Chemo had set out for him. Boy, remember those 7. Kill them. A weak voice that was almost inaudible drifted into Ling Zhao's ear. Ling Zhao slowly raised his head and looked at the 7 people who were currently being worshipped by the Celestial Soul Masters, basking themselves in the reverie. He closely observed each one of them. Li Zhuanyi, who wore indigo robes, was the master of Heavenly River City, while the elder in blue garments was enlightened Wu Jing from the mysterious Sea sect. The red-haired elder was the master of the netherworldly mansion, whereas the sour-faced woman draped in purple was matriarch of the Purple Jade sect. The master of the principal intelligence hall was Wang Ziyuan, a gloomy man with triangle-shaped pupils. Shan Nanfeng, a muscular man dressed in gray clothes with short sleeves, was the master of the Sunken Wind Valley. The last one was a woman clad in red with a ferocious-looking mask hiding her face. She was Yan Han Ruo, master of the Crystal Sea Pavilion. Ling Zhao naturally didn't know the specific identities and names of the respective individuals. He only knew he had to kill them. One by one, he engraved a picture of them in his mind. There's no helping it. I don't hold a grudge against any of you, but if I don't fulfill my promise, I'm the one who's going to die. If the 7 powerhouses knew of the ant-like existence Ling Zhao planned to kill them, they would burst out laughing. How could they possibly take such a proclamation seriously? But even so, the 7 of them were flying towards Ling Zhao at this very moment, looking at him with strange expressions on their faces. A chill arose in Ling Zhao's heart. What are you guys going to do to me? Ling Zhao heard a humming sound. The intense pain of someone stabbing him in the head filled his very being. It felt quite similar to how he felt when he endured Ancestor Chemo's mental attack. Ah! An extremely exaggerated, blood-curdling screech left Ling Zhao's lips as he kneeled on the ground with both hands clasping his head. Li Zhuanyi opened his eyes and indifferently said, "Everyone, relax. He doesn't have a demonic soul force in his fundamental heavenly knowledge archive." So they didn't believe me and were probing around just now? But why didn't that indigo robe guy mention my twin soul? Can he not see it? But such matters were far out of the realm of Ling Zhao's comprehension. He didn't even know what having a twin soul entailed. But this boy's mental strength is pretty good for him to not have turned into jello after enduring my attack, Li Zhuanyi casually commented. He didn't seem to care that Ling Zhao could hear his every word. Since he isn't with the demon and survived my mental attack, we can't just let him go. I already took care of the poison on his arm. Shan Nanfeng, since Northern Jade City is in your territory, take this boy into your Sunken Wind Valley as compensation for today's events. A chill arose in Ling Zhao's heart. First Ancestor Chemo almost killed him, and now this indigo robe guy almost turned him into a vegetable. If it wasn't for his unique constitution, he would have died twice today. Ling Zhao felt the need to laugh at his own stupidity. Coming clean to these guys? Ridiculous. Every last hint of guilt he felt for the 7 before him vanished like a fart in the wind. Even he understood the so-called compensation was only a facade, an attempt to fish for compliments. These people, do they really think my life is worthless? A trace of ruthlessness flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes, but nobody would notice an ant's ire. An annoyed expression showed on Shen Namfeng's face. Trying to save your face by throwing me under the bus, Li Zhuanyi. I already have to take care of the aftermath here. I also have to take care of some kid? Shen Nanfeng wasn't just going to take this burden from Li Zhuanyi. He frowned and said, Sunken Wind Valley disciples all need to have a celestial soul force more powerful than that of a yellow-ranked celestial soul master. This boy is only an ordinary person. I'm not going to accept him. How about this? Since he is a resident of Northern Jade City and the Northern Jade sect is under the jurisdiction of my Sunken Wind Valley, let this boy enter the Northern Jade sect. Chen Qiantai, I'll leave this boy to you. A man radiating with health and vigor, sporting a short beard that split in half at the end, came forward and respectfully greeted Shen Nanfeng. Yes, Valley Master. Since Ancestor Chemo has perished, there's one last supporting pillar in the Seven Devils cult. Let us return to our respective sects and prepare for battle. Let our plans of exterminating the demons get underway. The disciples of the 7 Grand Holy Lands were all fired up with bloodlust. They echoed Zhao Yang's voice as they howled in unison, Exterminate the demons! Exterminate the demons! Li Zhuanyi softly snorted. How boring. After which he turned around and left, with thousands of heavenly river-seated disciples following closely at his tail. Zhao Yang's face turned red in embarrassment. Luckily, he had his red hair and robe to help him cover his flushed face. If not, he would have lost all his face right here and now. Enlightened Wu Jing lightly patted Zhao Yang on the shoulder and consoled him. It's not like you don't know his character. You just need to get used to it. Come, let's return to our own sex. Ling Zhao didn't know what these celestial soul masters were made of, but he knew that they all disappeared without a trace in less than half a minute. The very few people that stayed behind with that middle-aged man called Chen Qiantai were standing before him. There was one amongst them who Ling Zhao recognized as the fatty from the Northern Jade sect. The fatty was called Zhao Yang, and acted with great arrogance when he showed himself in Northern Jade City. The only difference with him now was that he acted like a small kitten, obediently hiding behind Chen Qiantai. Still not going to pay respects to your master? Chen Qiantai didn't hide the loathsome expression on his face as he looked at Ling Zhao, who was filthy from head to toe. Even though Chen Qiantai wasn't all too willing to accept his disciple, he had no choice in the matter since Shen Namfeng himself had put his foot down. All he could do was to find an excuse to kick Ling Zhao out later on. I've gotten 2 masters in a day. One is already dead. I wonder about the second. Ling Zhao bowed his head, his lips slightly upturned as a sinister laugh that was difficult to perceive formed on his face. He kowtowed in Chen Qiantai's direction as he said, "Disciple Ling Zhao pays his respects to master."